so much.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. I am Carlisha Harris, the program coordinator. Cousin Dorius is director of the Alabama MBDA Business Center operated by Walker's Legacy. Our mission is to help minority-owned businesses grow and scale by giving them resources that otherwise they might not have access to. Today, our webinar is about creating a strong online presence. We have Christine, the CEO and founder of UENI, and I'll let her expound on what exactly they do, but they make some really good websites. So I'll give her the floor and I hope you all enjoy. Feel free to put your questions in the chat box. We'll answer them at the end. Thank you, Christine.
Thanks, Carlisha, for the kind words. Yeah, and I guess you can advance to the next slide there. So my name is Christine. I'm, as Carlisha said, founder of UENI. But what we do is really help to get all small businesses online. It's pretty simple. We promise to build your small business a beautiful website in 7 days for $149. And we stand by our product. So we guarantee that you'll be happy with it or you can get your money back. We're different in this space because there are a lot of website builders out there, of course, but we are not a do-it-yourself builder. There are many good solutions out there if you're looking for a DIY, but that's not us. We're a done-for-you solution and an affordable one, because what we saw was that the market was really divided in these two camps. You have the do-it-yourself builders where you have to have a fair amount of knowledge around how to use those tools, whatever it is, WordPress or Wix or Squarespace and so on. You have to know how to use them. You have to have some concept of design and content, search engine optimization, tech on some level. And we saw that that was a big barrier to entry for a lot of small business owners who really just want to focus on their craft. So, you know, the statistic is that about 10 to 20% of the individuals that start on a DIY website builder ultimately launch a website. And for me, that's staggeringly low, right? It just means that a lot of people are not, their needs are not being met, because we know that when you're starting a business, or even if you're a going concern, you know, as a small business owner, micro business owner, you don't have a lot of spare resources to be investing in anything, right? That isn't absolutely essential. And we know that having a credible online presence is really important, but, you know, budget constraints are there. So, you know, if you don't want to enlist an expensive freelancer or a digital agency, you still want something that works. So we come to the market with a done-for-you solution. And we've been helping small business owners for nearly 8 years now. And have gotten over 650,000 small businesses online globally. We're doing a lot of work in the US now, so it's really great to be talking with you all. Next slide, please. So this is really it. I mean, we do websites, we do online presence, and I want to share with you some of the insights that we've gleaned over time by looking at so many small businesses and what it takes to make those websites successful. So let's dive right in. A couple words here. You know, obviously it can feel like a huge thing to launch your business website. You shouldn't feel like you're alone in that. This is a comment we get from so many of our customers, but it is something that you can achieve, and it may be easier than you think. So why don't we get started? What makes a good website? What makes a great website? Well, it's really about appealing to your intended audience. And so that means there's no real universal solutions, because no two websites, no two market environments, no two industries are exactly the same, but we can point to a few things that are common to all good websites. And it's these four: clear message and purpose, amazing aesthetics, mega marketing features, and strong technical foundations. You know, we've seen a lot of websites, as I've said, so we're going to try to bring the best practices from those to you. One thing I'd like to say at the outset is that it's just important to keep in mind that if something resonates with your customers or prospective customers, then Google's going to like it too. Because if a lot of people are clicking on your website in search results, that's going to favor you in the search engine algorithms. So if you take nothing from this presentation, just keep in mind, don't try to game or trick the system. Just really focus on getting your customer's attention, and understanding your customer will really help you drive success. Okay, next slide, please. So clear message, clear purpose. What do we mean? You really just need to make sure that it's absolutely crystal clear who you are, what you're going to do for them, and how you're going to do it better than everyone else. I mean, that's this first point, offer a high value proposition. It is amazing how many websites I see that do not make clear what is exactly on offer right up front. So make sure there's no ambiguity about it. Second thing is about providing accurate contact details. Bottom line is, obviously, if you want to convert any traffic into, any visitors into customers, people need to know how to get in touch with you. So those key pieces of information about where you're located, your physical address if you have one, or the areas you serve, your email, your phone number, that's essential. But also, search engines want to see this information. I'll just underscore, though, that if you have this information on your website and anywhere else, social media, maybe some Yelp listings or something, you have to make sure that it is exactly consistent across platforms, like painstakingly consistent. So don't make an abbreviation on one platform and write it in full form on another. Google really wants you to have an exact match pretty much everywhere. They call it this NAP, name, address, phone number, and it helps increase your credibility when it appears consistently on all these different platforms. So maximize your chances on ranking by delivering Google in the format that it wants to see things. The third point here is about including an About Us page. So this humanizes a business, right, and helps you build trust. If you feel comfortable, if you are the face of your business, show your picture, show your team, show your van, show your before and after work, your portfolio, anything that brings prospective customers closer to you, your team, your work. That will help build trust and make you stand out in people's minds. Relating to the content that you want to make sure is on the page, there's a lot of discussion around keywords, and this can be a topic in and of itself, but you want to make sure that, the first thing I mentioned was make it clear what it is you do. You want to include language that is consistent with what your prospective customers are searching for. So thinking about specific searches will in fact help you increase your traffic and pair you up with the right customers. It's important to keep in mind seasonal trends and focus more of the real estate on your website on searches that are more popular at any given time. You may know this from your business, so leverage that knowledge. Sites like Google Trends can also help you with some of that seasonality. Easy navigation. So it's very simple. You want to make it easy for the visitor to find what they want. And the maxim here is to keep things simple and well organized with clear navigation tabs. Think about your own viewing experience on any website, right? You don't want to be digging to find some basic information. Clear calls to action. So after devoting time, money, effort into creating a website to promote your services and products, the last thing you want is for visitors to leave without taking any action. A call to action is just simply that. You want to drive them to do something and be very explicit about what you want them to do. Call us, download a free ebook, or whatever it may be that you want them to do on your website. You have to use words that convey action, so there's no question about it. But be careful when you're doing this, because you really want to keep people focused on the primary action. So often we'll see things like people trying to do too much, and it can muddy the message. So if you want to get people into the door of your shop for some event or for some introductory offer, then really make sure that visually and using the text, the action you're driving them to is that one clear thing. You can have what they call a secondary call to action, which could be something else that is important but less important, but you shouldn't be doing more than that. And visually, they should be distinct. So like on UENI.com, if you go to our website, you have a solid orange button that says get started. And then you have like a clear button with an orange outline for logging in. So we're really trying to drive people to join us. And the people that are coming back, they can go and log in, but it's not the dominant action of that page. Does that make sense? Okay, I think we can move to the next slide. Great. So the next then is, after you have kind of a clear message, clear purpose, you really, we can't understate the importance of how the site looks, right? Amazing aesthetics. And, people looking at websites will talk about something called bounce rates. So how long does a visitor stay on the site before they jump off? And a lot of that is just emotional. It's just sensory. So let's just tackle some of the basics here. The first is always about images. So high quality, well-cropped images that really show your business can go a long way, very subconsciously or otherwise, because customers will see low quality images and equate it to low quality product or services. So just try to avoid uploading pixelated or badly cropped images. It's now, thankfully, there are some really good tools to help you do this. A couple photo editing apps that we know, Snapspeed, VSCO, Canva. Many of them offer like a free to use version of the product that help you edit your photos on the go, even with from your phone. We have a guide, which we can share the link, no problem. It's available on our blog, how to create great photos on a budget. Very easy ways now to create a backdrop for your, if you're selling products, for example, to have like a black background that is very clean, or a white background, so you can have a consistent background across your products. So really there are, and there are other guides, not just ours, but there's a lot of very simple articles out there that can help you structure how you take images, whether it's of your team or your products, really to bring up the level of the imagery on your site. I will say that obviously there are a lot of service sector providers that may not have products to offer, and sometimes they feel a little bit stuck what kind of images to use, and it's maybe not appropriate to take photographs of, let's say, their work or their subject matter, in which case my suggestion is always, you want to avoid stock imagery of the, showcasing people. It tends to look stock, but if you have to use people and stock images, try to use like a set so it all looks consistent on the site. What I prefer and what I recommend is that you use iconography where you can, so icons that may look neat for like home services businesses, a plumber or a handyman, a gardener. Sometime, or a cleaner, a gardener, usually you can have images of your work, but like a cleaner, for example, a nice single set of icons can really look very professional on a site. Or if somebody is doing like counseling for mental health, abstract images like sand or seascapes, things like that, that give an elegant and a professional look with the right tone of calm and the right colors, like that can work really well. So think about these kind of principles and make a decision. Are you going to have your custom photographs? Are you going to use something that is maybe stock? And if so, there are some considerations. Color, there are huge studies on this. As a starting point, obviously different palettes fit different moods. If your business is aiming for a clean, simplistic vibe, white may be an ideal choice. It evokes a modern feel. If your brand is associated with excitement, energy, power, this kind of thing, you may want to use red. There's a lot of ideas around there. So think about what you want your brand to project as a feeling, and then maybe Google that. There are, what color should I use to project this? And there are studies about it. Another pro tip is kind of to associate your brand with a color that differentiates you from competitors in your space that other prospective customers may be familiar with, because you want to stand out. Font type. When it comes to fonts, I think the most important point here is that readability is your number one priority. Open Sans is a highly readable neutral font, one of the most popular ones. Montserrat is another one. So whatever it is, it's really just, although it seems like an insignificant subject, it really can influence whether a visitor will advance on your page and stay there, or they're just going to be a little bit visually annoyed and jump off. Structuring your text. So when it comes to layout, minimalist design is in fashion. You can say a lot with very little. And we'll talk a little bit more about this, but the best websites know how to break up content into subheadings and boxes to make the pages easily digestible and navigable. Multimedia content can add value to your pages, but should be done selectively. So the worst thing is really to have content everywhere without any clear table of contents that allows the user to very quickly understand what is where. So that's kind of the underlying principle. Next slide, please. Right, mega marketing features. So on this, we talked about kind of content and the visuals. Here is, what are those elements that we can use to help, really retain the customers that are on the site and keep them coming back, or really engaging them. So there are a few things on the sites that we tend to do for our customers and that we would recommend. So reviews and testimonials, also known as social proof. So presenting these, especially if they're very favorable on your website front and center, is an invaluable resource for promoting trust in your business. So we were in a study of about 2,000 customers, and we found that business owners who posted at least 5 customer reviews on their website, like as a section, and the content was there, saw an average of 2 times uplift in sales versus those who did not. So again, you could say, okay, well, maybe there's selection bias because those are better businesses and what have you. Nevertheless, give yourself every advantage, especially if you have reviews, 5-star reviews. Make sure that customers visiting your website clearly see them. Email marketing sign up. So this is also invaluable because visitors will often come to a site, maybe they'll peruse, but then they'll disappear. And it doesn't mean that they're not interested in what you have to offer, but it wasn't the right moment. So having a sign up button on your website, can bring them back. Often you do best when you give something and ask for something at the same time. So, join our newsletter for to stay up to date with all of our events, offers, and latest news. Something like this, where then you collect that email and it will go into an email list. You may not have anything built up yet, but even if you're just getting started, start collecting those emails, because you'll build a list. That's an asset for you that you can later, set up a free MailChimp account. It's actually quite simple to do, but having those visitors will allow you to then build up a customer base. It's an easy but really powerful thing to do. But make sure that you're not overwhelming the customer by asking them this right away. You want it to be visible but not intrusive. So maybe after they've been on the site for 30 seconds, or some people put it on as somebody's leaving the site. So this often needs to be tested to see what works better for your audience, but it can be something very valuable. Ensure you have online payments enabled. This is probably quite obvious, but a lot of businesses still don't necessarily do e-commerce, right? Especially if you're a local business. But if you have this, it is it makes a lot of customers more comfortable. If you can think about offering things like curbside pickup, where the customer pays in advance, if you can make that transition in your business, setting up a business, PayPal business account, for example, is pretty straightforward. There is some very basic due diligence, but pretty basic to get set up and to have that on your site. I mean, that's the e-commerce kind of payment gateway we have on our site, very effective for our small business customers. And it enables them to kind of go from being totally offline, which you can continue to be mostly offline, no problem, but it just gives that, it makes that bridge to the customers that expect to pay online, want that flexibility, and you're there right there for them. Writing product and service description. So this is something that really often goes a little bit unnoticed. Customers really want content about what you do, and they are comforted by the specifics that you can provide. In that same study where we were looking at the customers that 2,000 customers and the sales that they got, we found that, and this is quite staggering, product descriptions with customers that had product descriptions with 100 or more characters sold 8 times more than those without product descriptions. So, and you can think about it for yourself. Are you going to buy something from a site that doesn't really describe the particularities of that product? So really making sure, and this is true whether you have a product or a service, that people understand that's what I'm getting, and these people have professionally specified what it is all about, can really make a huge difference. Linking social media to your website, we see that this also makes a big impact on commercial performance. Why? There are a few things. I mean, it helps you remain top of mind. It helps you, it creates a bridge to where customers are, which is social media. And, it allows the customers also to see more and to get more content from you. So it comes back to what do you post? It's pretty basic, and it's leveraging what you do every day, your products, your services, events, promotions, new team members, milestones in your business. Right now, Reels on Instagram are very popular, and maybe this group here is very active on Instagram, maybe not. This is a pretty new thing for Instagram. They're really trying to push videos, so don't feel like, even if Instagram is not something you do, don't worry. I mean, it's new for everybody, so you can definitely break in. Maybe you're a cosmetologist and you have some beauty tips. This, especially where you have something really visual, but if you're a landscaper, that's also very visual, but let's go with the beauty example. If you have some beauty tips, this is an amazing platform to show some concrete tips in 90 seconds or less. There are a lot of tools to help you with this, but whether you decide to use some of those tools, just try it on your own. I encourage you to try. At UENI, we have, that's part of our service. We help customers create social media posts. And so maybe you do want a bit of help, but it is really important, and I do encourage you to try. And the last thing here is about connecting. If you are particularly a product seller, connecting your product catalog that is on your website to Facebook Marketplace, Google Services, and Instagram Shopping. This is something that some, not all website providers will provide. We do. But what it is taking, let's say you have 30 products. That's a list, and each item on that list is like a data point, right? Or it's many data points: the product name, the price, the sizes, the variations, the stock, all those data points, and essentially that data should be connected between your website and these platforms to give it maximum distribution. Early in the pandemic, Google and also Facebook made this connection, this ability to sync your product catalogs, kind of like a free service, so that business owners could increase their distribution. And so as it is a free thing to do, if your web platform allows it, it can be very powerful. You can then decide maybe you want to put a little bit of paid advertising behind it. So a concrete example, I sell tennis shoes and they're on my product catalog on my website. I push them to Google Surfaces. Google Surfaces is just like a network of Google sites like Google Shopping, Google Images, even Gmail, right? So they push it out to different platforms and it'll come up when relevant people are searching. It may not always come up, right? That's the whole kind of complex algorithm of Google, but it can show up, especially if somebody in your area, right, is searching for something and it's quite close, let's say, to the title or description that you've given for that product. So having the ability to push your catalog out to these platforms that have such wide reach is quite amazing. So I would encourage that as well. Okay, next slide. And then kind of the last big bucket here around the website is talking about sound technical foundations. And these are, as I've written, important features that are mostly invisible, but they are nonetheless essential. It's a bit more clear cut than some of the other factors we've considered. Either you get these right or you severely limit your chances of making a good impression online. But let me talk through it a little bit. And I apologize for going very fast on these quite deep subjects on their own, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a overview of what's important. So the first thing is SEO, which I'm sure everybody's heard of. The best websites are highly visible to the people they are targeting. And so what does this mean in practice? That the content of their website is a good match for what people are looking for when they're searching. So this is where the use of relevant keywords that people are searching for comes in, using those keywords on your website. And so, like we said before, search engines really value a good user experience, and that includes making sure that your site satisfies a user's query as best as it possibly can. And if you're working with, let's say, a website provider that can do a bit of research to see, okay, what are popular queries? That's very important knowledge that then can be incorporated into your site. Now, relating to this, and something I mentioned briefly before, was about structured site architecture. So you got to be able to navigate to any given page or section of your site quite easily. This is important for your customers, your prospective customers, but it's also important for SEO because it shows Google that the website in question is well organized and easy to navigate, and those sites rank better. One thing you should, just some terminology that maybe you're familiar with, is meta tags. So these are invisible tags that provide data about your page to search engines and website visitors. Meta tags help with this by making sure that the information searchers need to know about your site is displayed in a concise and useful fashion. So these tags are all usually controllable in the CMS or kind of the back end of your website platform. Very quickly, the main tags you just need to be aware of are the title tag and the meta description. This is what you see listed in search engine results. So if I Google plumber near me and I see somebody's listing come up, what do I see as that blue highlighted text? That's the title tag. And the meta description is just underneath, and it tells me a little bit about that business. So those are clear and present, right? And you want that content to both link up with what people are searching for, but also compel them to click and go to your site. Then when you're on the site, there are what are called the H1 to H6 tags. And these are the titles and subtitles on your website. And again, you just want to make them clear for your customers and for Google, so both know what is the content of your site. I'll move on. We can always come back if there are more in-depth questions about it. Fast loading speeds. This is really imperative. I'm sure as you know, loading speeds are not just about enhanced user experience. It's also that, we know from data that they drive user behavior. So around 53% of mobile users will be put off by pages that take longer than 3 seconds to load, and they'll just drop off. So 3 seconds is a little bit of a threshold, and some people are more strict than that. So you really, really need to make sure loading speed is top of mind. Likewise, rapid responsive design. Does it look good on a desktop computer, a laptop, your mobile phone? This is just standard now. It has to have what they call all the different breakpoints. Also here related to that is mobile friendliness. I mean, Google will penalize websites that aren't mobile friendly. I mean, that's pretty much it. And the best way to avoid this is to create a pared back design that renders easily, so that there isn't this issue where, oh, it looks great on desktop, but on mobile things are cut off and it's busy and your calls to action have disappeared and all these things. So it's much more important to have a usable mobile friendly design than all the bells and whistles and complexity that may get in the way. And then the last thing is really around security features. SSL, so secure sockets layer, is the most important thing for your website. It does give you a small ranking boost, but more importantly, it gives your customers peace of mind when buying from you and exchanging personal information. So it's just one level more secure, let's say. So sites without SSL encryption will, you'll see it on your browser. The browser will display a not secure message in the address bar. And you can tell a website if it has an SSL because it will start with HTTPS. So it has that S before the colon. Okay, next slide. So this is kind of the last bit I wanted to share about, crafting a website. A couple of do's and don'ts. So always try to use verbs for your call to action buttons. So for example, learn more performs better, like almost always, than more info. So keep it active. Find a contrasting color for your call to action button. So I mentioned that we have like a bright orange button that stands out from the background color on the page. So if you want the customer to click there, you really want to draw attention to the call to action. You can always Google color wheel to see what are some contrasting colors, and the opposite color, the colors that are at the opposite ends of a color wheel are contrasting colors. Have white spaces on your site. So white space makes your content more legible while also enabling the user to focus on the elements surrounding the text. So don't be afraid of white space. Take the content seriously. So make sure the text on the website is relevant. Avoid using jargon that might put some customers off. And really think about, like, every line of text, is this adding value? Is it adding content to the customer? Is it informing them about something, or is it just fluff? You really want to make every word count and make sure that it is understandable to your targeted audience. Avoid using stock images. I mentioned this before. Don't use too many typefaces. We also talked about kind of having clean, readable fonts, but also combining a lot of different font types can also be distracting and confusing. And then this next point is kind of what I've been trying to get at a lot in my discussion so far, is really, don't sacrifice usability for the sake of beauty. No matter how beautiful a design is, it really must never interfere with the user's ability to understand your business and interact with it. So try to keep it in mind. And the last one is, like we talked about with collecting the email addresses, don't show automatic pop-ups too early. You want to show how you can deliver value before you ask them for something. And you also want them to have stayed on the page for some time before you're presenting them with something that interrupts their time on site. Right, so that is kind of the first part of what I wanted to present to you. We were initially going to do this as two different sessions, but we combined them in one. So I'll continue on and talk about kind of the next step here. So how do you move from having a great website to having a strong online reputation? And then, of course, we can take some questions and discuss both subjects. So, you know, your online reputation can have a major impact on buying decisions. And, you know, it's constantly evolving. I think that's important to remember, and redefined by every social media comment, review, blog post, and so on. And so that's why it's an ongoing effort. You have to make the investment upfront and then constantly work at it and maintain it and improve it. So I'll present some key kind of what I think are some of the most important strategies for creating and maintaining a strong online reputation. But, you know, just these initial statistics give you a sense that, you know, customers really need online reviews, and online reviews are extremely powerful. We all know from our own lives that word of mouth, you know, word of mouth rules, right? Like, it's incredibly powerful. But, you know, 79% of people trust online reviews from complete strangers as much as they do personal recommendations. It's very very powerful. So the good news is you're in full control of reviews, and there are things you can do today to get online reviews. So let's talk about it. Next slide, please. Right, so what can we do? I've tried to keep it really small so we can hit the high points here. Three things I'd like to talk about: setting up a Google business profile. This used to be known as a Google My Business. Collect reviews, and then carrying on to manage your online reputation. So let's break it down what they mean. Next slide, please. I don't know if everyone is familiar with Google My Business or Google Business Profile. This is essentially the way to get your business information onto Google. It's through this platform, Google Business Profile. And when you submit your information and you get a Google Business Profile, that means your business information will appear on Google Maps and Google Search, desktop and mobile, and also the knowledge panel. So when you Google a business, you probably see on the right hand of the screen, if you're on desktop, like a little box that has the business name and its reviews, maybe some images, key information, contact information. That's the knowledge panel, but that's driven by your Google Business Profile. So if anybody Googles your business name, they expect to see your Google Business Profile, and you want to make sure that what they're seeing immediately is going to be what you want, right? The most professional it can be. It can be an incredibly detailed look at the key information about your business, and really it's what comes up, and it drives the content of what people are seeing about your business when they search for businesses like yours. So particularly for local SEO. Setting up a Google Business Profile really will, you know, the most important thing is making sure that you enter complete and accurate information, provide a detailed business description, make sure your location is clear, and add photos of, you know, your product, services, business, and keep your hours of operation accurate. There's a lot of power here. You can create posts, almost like a social media post, to show your current promotions. You can turn on messaging, so customers can directly write to you through your Google Business Profile. And you can add elements like attributes to make your business stand out. Connecting your Google Business Profile to your website is a great way to increase your online visibility. This is something we do at UENI. We connect when a customer signs up, they get their website, but they also get a Google business profile that has been verified. That's one important thing, that when you're creating a Google business profile, you submit the content, but Google asks that you verify that, well, they want to verify that you are the business owner, in fact, and often that involves receiving a postcard. They send you this postcard. It has a PIN number. You have to put it in the platform. We're Google partners, so we do this for the customers on their behalf, so they don't need to worry about the postcard and so on. But at the end of the day, no matter how you do it, getting verified is important, because that allows you to access all the features of the Google business profile, and very importantly, respond to reviews. So, you know, one of the key attributes of the Google business profile is that immediately you can collect and showcase your reviews there. And responding to those reviews, as we'll talk about in a moment, is critical to your online reputation. Of course, you have to first collect them, and then you have to respond to them. You can only do that really on Google if you have a verified Google business profile. Obviously, you can collect reviews and respond to them on other platforms for sure. We always recommend, though, that especially local businesses do this on Google as well, because this is the first port of call for any customer looking online for a business. And you want to make sure that even if you have reviews on a more niche platform, which could be very relevant to your business, that you do have some presence with a professional Google business profile with some reviews there. Next slide, please. So collecting reviews, you know, this, like I've written here, great reviews from happy customers is one of the most effective marketing tools you have. Like I mentioned before, you want to showcase those reviews on your website, definitely. You want to showcase those reviews on your social media, definitely. But you want to showcase them right on Google immediately. And so how can you start, right? You have a new business. Question is like, okay, but how do I start getting those reviews? Well, request them right away. So the best time to ask for a review is just after a customer has made a purchase or has had a positive customer experience with you. Has just had an appointment. You know, I've had a haircut. I love it. I'm at the till, like paying for the haircut. Why don't you ask that customer? Why don't you ask me to leave a review? And it's very important that you have a mechanism to do it, whether through your your website platform, you're able to trigger a request review, or if you just know the link to your own Google business profile and you can send it to them and say, like, look, I'm just going to send you a text with our review link. Can you click on it and leave a review? And you do that for absolutely everyone that comes through the door that's had a good experience. Very quickly, very quickly, you're going to have a lot of positive reviews, and it's something you can do immediately. But the key thing here is that you're doing it immediately and you're sending them the exact link. So, and then, you know, when you're face to face with the customer right on the spot, it's so easy because, you know, you see that they're satisfied. Of course, they're going to do this. I mean, yes, they paid for the service or the product, but they're also happy, and they're willing to, almost always, they're willing on the spot to take an extra minute and get it done. You know, what we do at UENI is for our customers, you have a website with us and we've created your Google business profile, or even if we haven't created it, but you've connected your existing one to our platform. Basically, you just log in and you type in the customer's phone number or email address, and we'll send off an email or a text to the customer on the spot to request a review. So that review link gets sent right away. So just make sure you have an easy way to send out the relevant link immediately to your customer. Social proof, I mentioned that, you know, just share the content you have. This is great content, genuine reviews from happy customers. And you can even ask your customer, like, please write what you had done. What did you like about your experience today? So that, you know, as precise as possible, but that authentic, you know, those authentic words from your customers is invaluable for the marketing of your business. And then kind of the last point here is thinking about potential negative reviews. And obviously nobody wants to have negative customer experiences. You may lose that customer, they may not come back, but sometimes it happens. And when a customer experience is poor, a bad review is waiting to happen. So try to ensure that there's always a line of communication with customers, anticipating, right? If somebody's frustrated, they had a bad experience, make sure that they have a line of communication so that frustrations don't escalate to the point where, to get your attention, the customer is leaving a bad review. So try to get ahead of it, in other words. Next slide, please. This is about managing your online reputation now, right? So we've set up a Google business profile. It's kind of your presence on Google. That's how they see you. That's how the world sees you. You've begun collecting reviews. Now what? Okay. Well, first, you want to monitor the channels where you may be collecting reviews. So in the first instance, Google. Maybe also if you have a Facebook business page or you have a Yelp listing. So know where you exist online. Maybe you yourself created those listings, or maybe you didn't. Maybe somebody who owned the business in the past or a colleague, but make sure you have kind of visibility of where you could be getting reviews. And if possible, log into those platforms and set up so you can get alerts to be notified about that. This is essential because you want to be responding to the reviews that you receive, and you want to reply as soon as possible. In the first instance, customers expect that you're going to be responding, but also, especially if it's a negative review, think about it as, if you have this is your face to the world on Google, and the most recent review is a negative one, that's what customers are going to see first. So responding to it as soon as possible really helps you. Maybe you can deal with the problem and the customer will be willing to take it down. If they're not willing to take it down, at least other prospective customers see that you are very proactive about addressing, empathizing and addressing with that customer's issue. So don't panic, but you do need to respond quickly. And the last point here is really to manage and respond thoughtfully to your reviews. You want to reply to both positive and negative reviews quickly. However, knowing what to say can be tricky, I realize. And so, let me just give you kind of a couple of examples. If you have a positive review, you want to show engagement with the customer and value them, basically. So you can say something like, "Thank you for kind words. We appreciate you taking the time to share your experience. Thank you also for your business." Something as simple as that, right? People will feel good to be acknowledged. Now, on the other side, the negative review, and this is where it's a bit harder, but again, keep it quite simple and professional, and empathize with the customer without admitting that necessarily you did anything wrong, because let's face it, often you haven't, and the person is just getting a little bit hot and they chose that forum to express themselves. So saying something more like, "We're sorry to hear you had this experience. Would you be willing to help us learn more about this matter? For us to discuss this matter more openly, please call, provide your phone number, or email us and provide the email address and reference this posting. We look forward to hearing from you." So that message hopefully gets to the reviewer and they feel like you respect them, and they give you, and you've given them concrete, directions how you can potentially remedy this. But it also tells everybody else that, yes, this is a professional organization that takes these problems seriously. Nobody gets it right all the time, but they're on it. And the next slide, please. So some last points around do's and don'ts to managing negative reviews. Really, as quickly as possible, if you want to respond, similar to kind of how I mentioned a moment ago, but take the conversation offline and really try to liaise with them to deal with the situation. I mean, the goal is really to deal with the situation, make it right, turn the customer around. And, it happens to everybody, but there is a real opportunity to turn it around and potentially even the customer going and revising their review. Don't engage with trolls. So sometimes people will leave a nonsense, insulting, or even a fake review with a desire to get a reaction or to hurt your reputation. These tactics, unfortunately, are out there. Don't necessarily waste your time preparing a thorough reply, because if it doesn't mention a concrete situation or seems focused just on insulting your company, maybe you just have a simple one-liner that says, you know, like, we run a professional business and this is not a professional review. You know, and you can usually report such clear kind of unreasonable reviews to the reviews platform for a review, and very often they will remove it. So keep that in mind. And of course, never blame your employees. I've seen this as a tactic when looking at review responses, and you just never want to do it because it doesn't reflect a strong, coherent team and company, which you ultimately want to project for your brand. So that I've spoken for a very long time. Those are the points I wanted to just share. I'm very grateful for your attention and would be very happy to take questions.
All right, thank you so much, Christine. Does anybody have any questions for her?
I'm always available. There are the contact details. So if something comes up, you think about it, please drop me a line.
Well, I want to, if there's no questions, I did want to use this time to do like a shout out for you, Christine. You did like 2 or 3 websites for our clients, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, one of them is on the call, Evelyn Woods. I believe you made a website for her website, Teas Nuts.
Amazing. I hope you like it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful website and she's been able to use it. Can you talk about that, Evelyn?
Yes, I absolutely love my website. I have drawn a lot of attention to everything that's on there. It's very beautiful. Thank y'all.
You're so welcome.
So pleased.
Yeah, I took a look at it. It's really nice. And if y'all don't know, Evelyn has her almond brand in stores and everything. So with that e-commerce, it's really going to help her to boost her sales. So I'm really excited for her. Definitely.
Wonderful. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, well, y'all are quiet this morning, so it's Friday, so I'm not going to keep you long. But Christine's email is right there, so be sure to write that down. And if a question pops in your head later, you know, feel free to ask her. She's always available to you all. Christine, thank you for your time and speaking so well to our clients today. That's pretty much all we have. So I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday. Stay safe, have a great weekend, and look forward to upcoming programming, okay?
Thank you so much. It was really my pleasure.
Thank
Likewise.
you.
Of course, of course. Y'all have a great one, okay?
You
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.